are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happy Monday. Let me make sure my settings are good. Mic check. If you can, let me know how the mic is in chat. I had to reset my StreamYard. Hopefully it's looks good. All right. Just let me know in chat how the volume is. I can turn it up or down if it's too loud or too soft. As always, welcome. Thank you guys so much. Before we get into Sebastian Rogers, we always like to give back by featuring a missing person. Today we have Jackie Declermont. I hope I didn't butcher that last name. Missing out of Tucson, Arizona. Went missing on January 9th of this year. So literally a month missing. So she left her home without her phone, which isn't good. On 120. I don't know. That's weird. It says 19 here, but it says 120 in the notes. Interesting. Well, either way, she's been missing since January. Yeah, it has two different dates here. It says went missing 19 here, but yeah, it says 120 down here. So, not sure on that. But she's just 14, 125 pounds, 5'2", brown hair, brown eyes. No tattoos, wears braces. Now seen wearing a black and red Nike shoes, black sweater, gray sweatpants, and a backpack, possibly runaway. So she was last seen near Suntran bus station in Tucson. Family is deeply concerned. If you have any information, you can call the Pima County Sheriff's tip line at 520-351-6711. All right. Once again, that's Jackie, missing out of Tucson, Arizona, just 14 years old. It's got two different dates. Somewhere in the middle of January, she's been missing. All right. Let's see. Make sure the chat is going good. Okay. All right. So got a lot of things to go over. Of course, it's been pretty quiet, but you know, we're coming up on the anniversary. I mean, it is coming fast. In this case, it shouldn't have not have taken this long. I mean, I really hope stuff is going on behind the scenes. I'm gonna do a members live and talk about a few things that I can talk about, but I think some people have been asked to go quiet, if you know what I'm talking about, certain entities, which I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. Oh yeah, okay, that does make sense. Okay, so she was last she was last seen by the family, but then caught on camera on 120. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Six double agent. I gotcha. Because I do so many of these, and I have seen where they, kind of mess up the date sometimes. Usually it's a year or something like that. But anyway, good catch, double agent. Yeah, that's probably what it is. So hopefully it's a runaway situation, which usually those have better outcomes. All right. What was I talking about? I was talking about, certain entity going dark. And I really hope that's just because they're just building their case. And, they don't want other people, getting in the way of that is what I really hope is going on. But either way, we're going to break down. There's more stuff that I've noticed in those screenshots that were released by SF and other entities. I know another couple of channels have talked about it, wondering if they're fake and stuff like that. So I'm just going to break down what I believe is going on and what I see. And much more. So let's get into it, guys. Real quick, I'll just play a 1-minute recap so I can make sure my stream is going smooth.
Heading to Juvenile, 2008 Capricorn, 1008 Capricorn, Commissioner. All advice this morning, they was having a 15-year-old male talking to bed. We have right now 3 blonde hair across my bed, but we're going to turn down. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. You know, those have a kind of autism. This is the first time it happened. I was going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this time.
10-4.
Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old autistic teenager who lives in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was last seen Sunday night on February 25th by his mother, Katie Proudfoot. The next morning, on the 26th, his mother went to wake Rogers up and get him ready for school, but Rogers was nowhere to be seen. Sebastian Rogers was allegedly wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, his glasses, and his keychain flashlight.
Looking at those white garage doors, then the lights are crossing this grass. And the dog's actually tracked that way as well, so that's quite important to figure out if the...
There's a Pincho there. Let me fix this over here. See all the love and support in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Again, I wish I could shout everybody out. I'm just looking at all the love and support. Thank you guys so much. All right, let's get into it. All right. Okay. So let's go back and just for anybody that's missing the context. Oops. Let me just fix this so you guys can see it all right. And if you can't, please hit that like button, please. All right, let's get going. Let me get my chat all set up here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I just played just a 1-minute recap of Sebastian Rogers. It's a video I did a long time ago, just the kind of bare necessities of when he went missing. So now fast forward, obviously now we have, this investigator SF who claims who is clearly working, who's been hired by the Proudfoots. And, in a recent post, I forget exactly if it was over a week ago now, where he had posted this in regards to, that photo that was kind of circulating that looked like, it was showing that like, Sebastian was being put in a car. It was supposed to be like an enhanced image of the Mysterious Lights video. And again, I kind of talked about this previously, that we have to be careful about that when you're trying to enhance that video, because it's not the video itself, it's a third generation, and you've got so much light pollution from the person that recorded it that you've got added pixels in there that are not native to that actual video. So I don't think you'd be able to enhance that particular video and be able to actually see people. Again, now technology does get better through time, but again, without having the original video, Mysterious Lights video, the 3 a.m. one, I don't know how much you can enhance it. I've tried to do my best with the programs I have. But anyway, long story short, so of course SF had, posted about that. And then in regards to that, he posted this about a week ago, where he says, we have footage from behind the house, just as we have footage from in front of the house, along with over 100 hours of additional footage from the neighborhood. Sebastian is not being carried anywhere by anyone. There are no people lurking or moving around in the backyard or common area, which I highly disagree, because we see here in this is the common area, we see lights moving back and forth. Something's moving. Unless they're like UFOs that are, flying around, or they've got some really I'm trying to think of those bugs. Lightning bugs. There's another name for them. Unless they're like super bright and super big over there in Hendersonville. This is likely people moving around between those areas with flashlights. So I completely disagree with this last statement. And then along with the statement, he then posts this photo, which is where he shows the image from the neighbor's home that shares the same backyard. as the Proudfoots, and their camera is looking directly into the Proudfoots' backyard. So this is his response, and I just think it's so waiting for it here just a second. I find it fascinating that he would post this and give us a screenshot, with a timestamp. And, we've talked about the timestamp on Wednesday last week where, well, there's kind of a issue with the timestamps when it comes to SF. Most of them have the same font and the same style where you have the hour, minute, second, and it says AM February 26, 2024. And they're all the same except for one, which is the one with the garbage truck driving by and the mysterious car and the Uber car. You can actually see that timestamp and the way it's written out. But all of the other ones, he released a bunch of other ones, and I'll show examples later on, which have the same exact font and format. So to me, this is him. Now, this still could be at 3:06 at 51 a.m., but still, to me, in my opinion, I think this is something that he clearly had placed this over the screenshot. And then also, he blurs out the home of the Proudfoots. And so basically, in a nutshell, his argument is, well, here you go. Here's a screenshot. It basically, rounded up at 3:07 a.m. See, there's nobody wandering around with lights, in the backyard or common area. But it's like, well, this is just like me taking a movie that nobody's ever seen, or you guys haven't seen, right? And me pausing it somewhere in the middle, and you guys have zero context of what the hell's going on. Is this a bad guy, or is this a guy, trying to protect his family from an intruder? You have no idea. You haven't seen the movie, right? So you have no context. So showing us one screenshot from 100 hours of video, who knows how many hours on that particular video. Why does he just show us 3:07? If your clients are innocent, why wouldn't you release, 3 a.m. to 3:30 or, 2:45 to 3:15, whatever, and not, blur out anything if there's nobody moving around, but yet you just particularly happen to just take one screenshot, and that is your argument to prove that there's nobody moving around. It's hypocrisy. Because if we get more context... All right, I'm going to take a sip here. Oh, wait, no, that isn't a good guy. That's a bad guy, and he's holding the child hostage. But we wouldn't know that because we need to see the whole effing video to be able to understand. But again, it's hypocrisy for him to make that statement. And I'm just going to choose a clip. Because if you remember what Nick Barris said, when he's narrating over this video, and I could go to it... I just had it right there, and I lost it.
Obscured by bushes.
Sorry.
Subject 1, a few seconds later, then moves out of frame. Then, subject 2 reappears.
And then listen to what he says. So remember, he's playing the very first part of whatever's going on in the backyard, in the common area.
And follows subject 1 off screen. It's a short time later, and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area. A few seconds later.
A few moments later.
Then moves out of frame. Then subject 2 reappears and follows subject 1 off screen. It's a short time later, and it's
time.
very vague, but one off-screen.
A short time later. So whatever happened in probably within minutes, right? Obviously, this is why it has not been solved, is because whatever they did it pretty fast, right? So clearly, for him to just show like a 307, for all we know, whatever could have happened. We know we have this mysterious car driving up Killen at 258. Let's just say that is the car in question. It turns around, comes back down Killen. Then they move and transfer Sebastian. And it's only going to take a couple of minutes, and then they're back in and say they're back in their home at 306. And then here, he decides, well, I'm just going to give you a 306.51. And now, whatever happened is now gone. It's done. It blows my mind. Rosemary says, I don't trust this photo. Now, I have seen some people talking about, was this altered? And I will address that. And I'll give you my opinion on stuff. But after looking at this, because you guys know, for those that have been following me, I'm very tenacious. And when it comes to, any screenshots from, potential evidence, I am going to study over and over. It's just my OCD in me. Yeah, distractions. Yeah, and people are not going to stop talking about it. I mean, especially you're coming up on the anniversary, and if they don't make any kind of statement, then I take that one or two ways. They're hopefully close to building a case, and they don't really want anybody outside involved. Kind of messing up what they may potentially, just hypothetical, maybe building the case, and they just want anybody else kind of like messing up. They're one potential thing that they need to kind of solidify and, get that search warrant or probable cause, whatever you want to call it. And I'm praying that is the case. Yeah, I agree. I don't trust him either. He acts more like a defense lawyer. I've been saying it. He acts more like a defense lawyer than a PI. I've never seen a PI so heavily involved on social media. It is weird. It is odd. So, all right, let's go over this, because I know some people are wondering if there was some funny business going on with maybe some tampering with the lights, because I did see that coming from a particular creator. Not saying that's the source, but I just want to address as much as I can, and then I'm going to show you guys the thing that concerns me the most. But so again, even though we have this 3:06:51 a.m., we do have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, because we know that when we see the unedited version, that timestamp's not there. So clearly SF or somebody that works with SF put that on after. And we've seen that same format from him in other screenshots. So here's the unedited version. We can see the company. Let me move this over. Now, I know I kind of go over this on Wednesday, but there's a lot more to go over, I promise. But I just kind of wanted to recap. But again, as you can see, there's no timestamp now when we have the unedited, where it's not blurred out, which obviously red flag there. So we get a couple of different shots from this particular camera. And for anybody that's not familiar with where we're looking at, just so we're all on the same page. So this is Sebastian's home here. right? Sebastian bedroom's right here. The master bedroom is in this corner here. And then we have another bedroom right here, which is, I guess would have been face bedroom. Then we have this neighbor here that shares a backyard. They have a camera kind of set up on their porch, and it is looking into the Proudfoot's backyard. All right. So that's what we're looking at. And then why did SF, go out of his way to blur this for privacy reasons makes zero sense. Again, if your clients are innocent, to me, you're just raising more red flags, and you're giving us stuff without any kind of context. And it's hypocritical. But anyway, so again, as you can see, as I'm fading in the original without it, his blurred and timestamp, we can see the difference. All right, so obviously this caught my eye. Obviously, the two things over here. Of course, I admitted Wednesday that I got this wrong. I thought this was the window to the Proudfoots, but that is across the street. And then I was kind of curious about this thing here with the two lights, because it almost looks like, in some regards, it almost looks like headlights. And then you kind of got this like weird kind of light source below. And then we were kind of wondering, what is that object? So I've had people email me. And of course I have, locals that live close by. And anyways, from what I understand, it's some kind of trailer that we're looking at, for those that don't know. So obviously that's got, reflective properties. And so just to knock out what those lights are, because that has bothered me, but that's not the big part of today's show, but I just wanted to knock this out because I've been curious as to what is causing that. But if we zoom in, now remember they have these two square fences separating their backyard right here. So we have a square fence here. This is Carr's backyard. And then we have the fence here for the Proudfoots. And we can actually see the fence, which means at the very least, whatever this object is definitely not in the yard of the person with the surveillance. So I think, although it looks so close, like it's like almost like resting behind the, I don't know, what is that, shed or a garage? I guess that would be. This is in the Proudfoots part of their yard, closer to the driveway. Tammy says, looks like my brother's pop-up trailer. Yeah, a lot of people were saying that last week. So yeah, I think that's what it is. And I've had somebody that's kind of close check it out and do some research for me, and that is what it's a trailer. Okay. So anyway, what are the lights? Now, when I first saw this, I just couldn't really wrap my head around it coming from the floodlights, because it just felt like it was much more closer to the Carr's backyard than the Proudfoots. And but now kind of knowing that it's kind of an illusion where it just looks closer, but it's much further, much closer to the Proudfoots yard. Actually, I have an example here that I'm going to play. So again, very bright, and then we have this little light source here. I think all this can be explained pretty easily. again, I was very interested in that. All right, we'll come back to that. Wait, didn't I address it in this part? Or is it after? Oh, I think okay. I know the order I got. Okay. Actually, I do come back to that. I apologize. All right. Okay. So we talked about how the clouds match because SF's one is a little bit more zoomed in, and then the one which I think comes from Crabtree is like the full panned out version. And the first thing I tried to do is make sure, since it was an uncensored one, I wanted to make sure the clouds match. So they are coming from the same photo. SF just zoomed in a little bit more, blurred some stuff out, and then put a timestamp on it. But it is from the same time. We talked about that. We're going to get into these lights. This is the biggest thing. And where they're at. Okay, so just a reminder, if people are wondering what I'm talking about with SF and his, red flags when it comes to timestamps. So each one of these, and this isn't all of them. I could have probably put, I think, 2 more in there. But notice the font and the style. We have the hour, minute, second, AM, which is something you really don't see. And then the full month, which if you see the full, usually if they have like the month in the timestamp, it's usually abbreviated. It's just 3 letters. And then date, year, and some examples. So the ones up here, as you can see, same font, same style as this one here. And then if you look at real ones, notice it's backwards. You've got the year first, and then you have the timestamp. But it's usually military hours. Usually have a 0 before the hour because it's going to go into military. So notice this one's from the garage video. And this one's from the Mysterious Lights video on the bottom. And notice they both have which is something is more commonly seen in timestamps, where you've got the year and then the time, and it's usually kind of a military time, right? Okay. All right, moving on. Oh, thank you, Jenny. Bless you. All right, I promise you, this is going to be good. All right, I'm just trying to remember the order of things I went in. Oh, okay. Yes, this is what... Okay. All right. I thought I had that. Screenshots in order. That's what it is. Okay. So, this screenshot, we have 1, 2... from the, I believe, the Crabtree YouTube video, I think we have 3 screenshots. So, daytime, the moon, unredacted. I want to say 4, but I think it's 3. And then we have the SF one. All right. So, if you guys remember, I mentioned in my Wednesday show, I thought, because in one of them you can see the sun setting, and then there's another one where, it looked like the sun. Yeah, this one here. So we have this one here, and this is in order now. So now I have the order. So we have the sunset. Now I put it at, approximately 5:30. It's somewhere around in there with the sunset, so we can see the sun there. Oh, thank you, Lulu. All right, but we're gonna put all these in order. I promise you, this is very important. Then we have the next shot. Now, so I had to go through and I had to look at all the where the moon is situated during the night, because now that we have a timestamp that we know that SF just places on there, now that's to argue both sides. It could be the exact time. It's certainly possible. In my opinion, this is somewhere between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. Now, of course, SF says it's at 3:06 and 51 seconds. Now, the reason I say that is because if you look closely towards the top left, you'll notice, see how it's kind of darker on the right? But if you look more towards the left, we're getting more brightness in the sky. And clearly that's coming from the moon. So the moon, when it's at the meridian line, I think that's how you pronounce it, the meridian line, which is north and south. So it's basically straight above us, right? When the moon is at the top. During this year, during around this time, it's somewhere around so from moonrise is 7:30 to 7:32 moon set. So I think it's somewhere around 1 and 2 a.m. is where it's at in the middle of the sky, right? Because that's important. So we can tell that the moon is at the very least like above us, right? Because it's lighting up these clouds to the left. And I'll explain why we're kind of going over the moon. All right, so here I was looking up the chart. As you can see, the sunset, when it's at 60 degrees, that is when it's at the meridian line. That's basically right, straight above us. And it's around 1 a.m. Hope you guys can't hear that baby crying. It's outside. But yeah, that's kind of wild. And so, for those that don't know, the moon does do the same thing as the sun. Rises in the east, sets in the west. We are looking west. So now, again, and I know I said early in my live on Wednesday, I'm like, I wonder if that's the sun, because the sun, like, it's literally like the same trajectory. So I'm like, I wonder if this is just kind of got like a filter on or something, and this is kind of like, mid-afternoon or early evening, I guess. But that is not the case. This is very important. This is where the moon is now 30 to 20% in the sky now, past the meridian line, which tells us it is now around somewhere, again, maybe 4 to 4:30 a.m. Again, that's just sorry, there's just like a kid screaming outside. I'm sure it's just kid being a kid. They're fine, but it's kind of distracting. I apologize. So that's interesting. So that means between this photo here, which can be anywhere from like 1 to 3 a.m. So it could be that 3:06, like SF said, but just saying, because we don't see the moon and we're looking west. That means that the next photo, because I thought it was the other way around, but when we look at where the moon is at now, the moon is at the very least 30 to 20%, somewhere in there, which means now it is, more than halfway from the center, straight above, at the very least 30 degrees from the meridian line, if not 40 degrees, and now is going to eventually set. And then we have this video here, which I don't see the moon at all, which is interesting. I don't know. It could be just slightly out of frame over here, But I think the moon, because we're a little bit up the street, so I think at this point the moon is now kind of at the horizon. And remember, this is the only timestamp for sure we know, which is at 5 a.m. So it's possible this moon is now kind of and then this is the mysterious light or mysterious car at 2:58. We don't see the moon. Could be up straight above us or more to the left. This one's tough to say because it's got that special filter on it. So anyway, keep that in mind. So now we know this. Remember, the moon does the same thing as the sun. Rises in the east, sets in the west. Carolyn says, isn't that east? No, we're looking west. Right? No, don't make me question myself. I hate that. Okay, so this is north. That's east. That's west. We're looking left. We're looking this direction. So we are looking west. Right? Just make sure we're all on the same page. Because I promise you, this is important, at least to me. Because I thought it was backwards when it came to these two photos. Because I thought this one was the last photo and this one was before it. But actually, it's reversed. This one is after, because now the moon is now further, at the very least 30 to 20% now from the meridian line, which puts us somewhere around like 4 a.m.-ish, around in that part. Jules says Chris works. I appreciate it. I'm trying to think outside the box, guys. I'm trying everything. I'm staring at clouds right now. I'm telling you guys, that's how much I'm invested. I'm staring at clouds. But I'll keep digging, guys. I'll keep digging. As long as you guys help support and show that love, I'll keep digging. I mean, I am not going to give on Sebastian. So anyway, I'll explain why I find this important. Yeah, it's closer to the morning. Right, yeah. And then we have 5:09 here, and we can see we don't even see the moon, which means it's probably now kind of past the horizon and now kind of setting. I'm assuming if we didn't have these buildings, maybe we'd see it, if we were just sitting on like a lake or an ocean, we'd kind of see it setting. So it's probably behind the homes here. All right. Okay. Like I said, I was going to just finish this part up. I forgot I put it. I always try to get things kind of in chronological order, but, I'm kind of jumping around on things. Oh, DC says, so the moon is below the tree line after 5. Perfect. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Because, yeah, when the trash trucks come in, I was kind of expecting to see maybe like a portion of the moon, kind of just above the buildings, but that makes a lot of sense. So, thank you. Yeah. And nobody's perfect, and again, I make mistakes, and I have no, I was raised to admit and accept responsibility. So quickly before we get into the order of things, I apologize to jump back to this thing, but I just want to kind of give my opinions. Again, this is my opinions on what we're looking at, but there is something, in my opinion, is a huge red flag. But I think now, kind of knowing what this is and having some people reach out. All right, so on the right, we're looking at a 5 o'clock shot where the garage lights. Now, I've heard mixed things about the garage lights. I've heard more that they're motion censored. They're motion light censored garage lights. I've heard a few that say that they're on during the night the entire time, but I've heard more often than the former is that they're motion censored. So if somebody drives by, they get set off. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. But I think because this object, even though it does look closer to us from this point of view, I think it is somewhere sitting closer to their garage, closer to their garage. So remember, we're looking west here, but now we're looking east on the right side. And I think whatever that trailer is sitting kind of somewhere in this driveway. And those two lights are now reflecting onto that because, what are the odds we have two lights? And I think because it's, a trailer, it's something that's got very reflective material. I mean, it almost looks metal aluminum from here. Obviously, if true, that's very reflective properties. So I think that's what we got. And then this little strip right here, which I'm still kind of like wrapping my head around because there's such a drop from the neighbor's yard to the Proudfoot's drive yard. But it's possible that we're just seeing just a sliver of the driveway, where it's further out. We can definitely tell it's behind that object, which means it's closer to us if we're looking east. So that tells me it's likely the driveway just kind of being lit up. Now the question would be is, if they're motion activated, why are they on? Right? Because I have heard that they're supposedly motion detected. So what set these off? Because it appears these are on around the time that allegedly things were moving around. But again, I don't know. I've heard both, so I'm kind of stuck there. Let me get to chat. Let me just grab what we got here real quick. Thank you guys so much for NJ's. Thank you so much for helping support this channel and modding for this channel. God bless you. And as always, if you do get gifted a Mob Crew membership, if you could thank the person, that's so awesome. Dreaming of Blue Skies and Sandy Beaches. Great name. Thank you so much for the $3.99. God bless you. That really helps this channel out. And Joel with the $4.99 super chat. God bless you. Cali Boy says it's her van and the garage light stayed on. Now again, I don't know. I've heard both on the garage lights, and there's even the lady that supposedly watched the video from on the east side that's looking east. She said the garage lights were on the entire night, so I don't know. But then I've heard people say that they've driven by and then all of a sudden the lights are on. So I don't know. Maybe they switch them. I know you can, there's definitely floodlights you can switch to be obviously sensor or just on. So maybe it's a combination of both. So yeah. Yeah, I've heard both. Yeah. And it could be both. Maybe it's just because I know, right? Like I've never been a homeowner myself, but I know I had friends, and I do recall even his floodlights 20 years ago. I think you could switch them to sensor, or they're on. All right, now let's get to the big stuff, in my opinion, the really concerning thing. All right, first let's address. Okay, so recently I saw a video. And again, I love when people are trying to look at different things. Now, there was kind of somebody saying, or multiple people believing that these lights were just filled in and they're not real. And they felt like, because there's these like black lines that are around them. But I don't think that's the case, and I'm going to show you why. And they also were kind of claiming that this, like, it looked like they're trying to, like, not blur out, but dark out certain parts of the home. But I don't think that's the case, and I have two reasons why. And the bigger one will come second, but well, I think they're both big to provide argument. And then we're going to get into the major concern. But I don't know if you guys saw that, but they were, kind of claiming these were possibly fake. But I don't think that's the case. I think this would be really hard. And I think if you were going to fake something, like, I don't know, like, what would you gain from that? I know being, you're trolling the other side, but, like, I don't know. Like, I'd see, like, if you're lighting up some windows, but, like, why would you just go with the square here and then you're just going with this little light here? It just seems weird to do that. Not to say that couldn't happen, but let me show you what I think happened. And then, again, we'll get into the major concern. So, okay. So, here I've got the SF version, and then I have the Crabtree version, which is the fuller one, right? Yeah, what did he say? Yeah, he did. Yeah, Kitty, and you're right. Yeah, it's such a weird statement that he said that. Oh, I think I just made myself shorter. I might have to check my hydraulics on that. That was weird. Yeah, no, that's such a great comment, Kitty. Yeah, because he says, and of all people, remember, Chris Proudfoot hasn't, like, allegedly been home because, the alleged CPS or CP report, CPS. And so he hasn't been home for, like, since, like, the beginning of what, January, February, or something like that. And then all of a sudden out of the two people, the one that's home all the time with Sebastian doesn't know that the lights are on, and only talks about, like, the landscape lights. And then it's actually Chris that has to remind her, the floodlights are on, it's so weird. Like, why? You'd think it'd be the other way around. Like, how is he self-familiar, and remembers that, but she's, that's so weird. Okay. All right. So let's explain if they're fake or not, and then get into in my opinion, the most concerning thing. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Where is it? Okay. Here we go. So remember, they were kind of saying, there's certain creators saying that this could be faked and that they edited these in, and that these are, like, really black, and that they're, like, blacking stuff out. But this is what I think happened. So I'm going to show you an example, and it's almost, I wouldn't say like a 1-to-1, but it's pretty darn close. So here's me doing the same thing, and this is what's going on. So I zoom in for you guys, right? So I take the SF. Part of the top is the Crabtree, but we're focused on the SF, right? Now keep your eyes on the dark areas here and here. Now all I'm going to do is I am just turning up the black, the black filter. Oh, actually, I'm showing the difference, and then I do that. I apologize. Okay, so I'm zooming in and out between his and Crabtree's. And then I do my version. Okay, so here's my version. So here is me going to turn up the black. Now watch what happens. Any minute. There we go. So now the black is going to be turned up. Gosh, I have it slower than I thought I did. So you're going to start to see, notice the black areas in here, and I've got them circled so you can kind of see. You're going to notice the black areas, and even this one, they're going to start to get darker. And it's just going to be like the darkest pixels. They're going to kind of spread out, right, as you turn up the black on it. And that's all that I think what maybe Crabtree did was probably cranked up the black all the way. And so here's me with it cranked all the way up, and I could have done more and even cranked it up more, but you can see, and then I show the difference. It's pretty much, I wouldn't say like 1-to-1 because I didn't, I could have thrown a couple other filters in, but here's me switching over, and notice it's the same thing. It's the same areas that are getting blackened the most. So I think that is, those weren't placed in my opinion, but I'm going to show another argument as why I don't think that was the case. So remember this, now that we've gone over the lunar cycle to kind of help us, we know this photo is after whatever happened. This is somewhere, we're kind of estimating around 4 a.m. From where the sun is, where the moon is at, because we're looking east, and the sun is now, the moon is now, in the process of setting east. But there's something that we notice that is on during this time. So remember, this is around 4 a.m. And so we're going to zoom in. It's not hard, Karen Lynn. That I'd agree with that. But the way they were showing it, the argument wasn't the best because, again, all they're doing is, because the person had already ran a dark filter on it. And again, man, it would be really hard to add these lights in like this without making some kind of real obvious, because the more you zoom in, it's going to get more pixelated, and if it's not smooth, that's a clear sign of tampering. But yet these have the same exact properties, and I don't get, like, I'd understand if you're going to fake like one photo but then you're going to do the same thing on another photo. I don't think that's the case. That's just my opinion. If you believe differently, then that's, don't let me, again, I'm just giving you my thoughts and opinions from my experience. Okay, so let's look at this closer. What do we see? We can see that light. I know it's pretty dim, and then we can see this light, and I'll show inside the house where that is eventually. Now remember, this is after. This is like somewhere around 4 a.m.-ish. They're very faint. And they have these unique windows that we're going to look at. And I'll explain what I think is going on in here. Oh, did I say east? I'm sorry. Yeah, west. I'm sorry. Yes, that's the dyslexic in me. Yes, please correct me. I'm dyslexic. Don't ever ask me for directions. You're right. Yes, that is setting west. My apologies. It's good to be dyslexic. All right, but so remember, this is around 4 a.m. We still see that light, and I know if you're on your phone, you're probably like, "What the hell are you looking at?" You could probably see this one, but we still see that little ball, and this is that bedroom that's like probably face bedroom, right? But notice there's nothing here. Keep in mind there is absolutely nothing right here. This is very, very, very important. And this is why I do not think this is fabricated, because if you're just going to add in some lights and you're going to do it on all the screenshots you have, then why not just keep them consistent? But that's not the case. What I think is this light, which is from the bedroom, could be maybe a nightlight that's just sitting in her room. Even though she's not there, but maybe it's just a nightlight that's sitting down on the ground. We'll look inside the bedroom. I think there's 2 windows for her bedroom, or that bedroom, the spare bedroom, whatever. And it's got unique dividers for each of the windows, right? So you can like close different ones. So, you can close the top. You could have the open bottom one open. And same goes for these ones over here. And notice we can see one full pane kind of window fully illuminated. And we can actually see almost 2 others, just the top parts. And they have that same setup as well and we'll look inside if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. But then we have this thing, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. So, and I think maybe, and I'll show you where this is. This is kind of the sunroom. And it's also, if we went through that sunroom, would be the kitchen. So it's possible either you have the sunroom light on or one of the kitchen light on, and it's illuminating through, and then maybe that's like a night light or something in the spare bedroom. But then notice we have this light, which we'll get more into it here in just a minute, but I promise you it's important. In my opinion, I believe this is big. I got some people that are dyslexic. Yeah. Okay. So as we switch back to 4:30 for a second, notice that light is gone. No bedroom light. Remember, Katie has 2 bedroom. Katie and Chris, they have 2 bedroom windows. One is kind of in between this tree here, and the other one's here. Now I am turning on the opacity back and forth from the 4 a.m. to the around approximate 3 a.m. And notice when we go to the 3 a.m., we can see, even though these two still stay the same between the 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., the 3 a.m. one shows that this bedroom window is being illuminated. There's no doubt about it. And to me, if you're just kind of messing around and trolling people, why would you just do 2 and then wait and illuminate a third one? And you're going to do it between the tree. Why not just illuminate Katie's big bedroom window right here? You're going to like do some trolling, some weird trolling thing. It just, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense. I've seen his recent message. I don't know. Did he post something since I went live? I know he's a big fan. Good to see you, SF. Hope you're watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe. Again, if your clients are innocent, I just don't see why you just don't release some footage unless you have something to hide, or your clients, I should say. Anyway, so 307 SF, according to SF's, this light is now on. It's not on at 4 a.m. And let's just kind of show you guys what it looks like inside. Yeah, I know he had to kind of teach me about the moon and the lunar cycles and stuff, at least a few days ago, which I found so weird because clearly he didn't watch my entire live on Wednesday, because I know I thought like, oh, I wonder if that's just the sun and it's run through a different filter. We did talk about it being the moon later on in the live. And I thought, yeah, that's probably more likely. But clearly he didn't watch all that, and he just, wanted to, poke fun that I had mentioned it was the sun, but I wasn't really like, I was just kind of mentioning, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's the same trajectory. But anyway, again, that is a PI, and he's going out of his way to go through a live show that I did to point out a lunar cycle. And he's supposed to be trying to find Sebastian. How is that helping Sebastian in any way? How is that helping? I can't talk. How is that helping Sebastian? And you're going and looking at other content creators like, oh Lord. Yeah, so that's what I think. I think some lights are on just normally. So like I said, that could be a night light, something else in the spare bedroom. This could be a light on that just, now keep in mind, this is still between, 3 and 4. Maybe she just left that light on after whatever went down. But again, at the 3 a.m., we have this light. I know this is me just overlaying the daytime. So let's look at the inside. So for anybody that doesn't know what's going on. Oh, thank you, Joel. Nobody cares about the missing. There's a lot of other people, but I do appreciate that, Joel. God bless you. We try to get back. So here's all the windows that are lit up. And we'll look on the inside. So we have the spare bedroom, which I believe was Faith's bedroom at a point. We have this window here, pretty much illuminated. And then we can kind of notice the top two are kind of illuminated. And then here is the master bedroom. This one's nothing. But this one we can see now. Remember, the point of view we're looking at is much different from the neighbors. It's slightly more angled, so it adds in the trees and kind of blocks this window a little bit. Alan says the timestamp is legit. I believe it's a CC timestamp. Just to be straight up. Maybe, Alan. I would like to hope so. If we get time, we'll go back and look at that. I really. It'd be nice to know if that's 307, because that'd be even more damning, in my opinion. Because let's look at what we're looking at. So none of these are lit up, right? So the living room, it's dark, right? Nothing's going on in the living room. But we're gonna walk forward here. Now we're in the kitchen. Now from the kitchen, for anybody that's not familiar, if we take a right, this room right here is the sunroom. And then next to that is the door. And we're going to look at that here in a minute. We've got the kitchen, and then if we go through this hallway, we can go to one or two ways. We can go left, which will take us upstairs to the ranch-style extra area bedroom up top, or we can take a right, which will take us to the master, Katie, and Proudfoot's bedroom. Keep that in mind. So let's go through and take a right to the sunroom. Okay, so here's us taking a right. Now, if you guys are familiar in how much I've been covering this case, remember how I told you guys I don't believe he went out the front door. And if he didn't go out the front door, there's only two doors he's going out, the front door or the back. I don't think he went out the front door. I think they would have seen him. And if he went out, there's two doors that he could go out to the back. This is one of them. And then there's one behind the, on the other side. And it's the same setup. You got a deadbolt and then possibly one of those doorknobs that you can lock. But regardless, they both have deadbolts. Now remember, he has no keys. They said in one of the interviews, those deadbolts were locked. And because they were asked, well, how do you know? How are you so sure he went out the front door? Well, the other doors were locked. And then the only other way would be through the garage doors or the door next to the garage. But remember, you'd be going right under the garage lights. They would go off if they are motion censored. So, again, how the hell does he lock the door to the deadbolt? He can't. What does that tell you? All right, now let's look at the lights, where the lights are at. So we have this one open. So as you can see how the windows are, these are actually kind of neat, so you can open each one. My apartment doesn't have these. My old apartment did. They're kind of nice. So they're little like quarter panels, and they each have the little, thing so you can close each one. I guess it'd be a pain in the ass if you're trying to, close them all up or open them all up. But so clearly this one's completely more or less open, or open enough to let a lot of light through. And then it looks like the top half, at least these two, are lit up, and I'll show from the outside. I think this is very important because remember, this is both of these are between 3 and 4 a.m. So that is what we're looking at. So that's the porch, and then through that porch is the living room. So the living room is dark, but you can see the 4 panes. But this one's completely lit up, and then you can kind of see a little bit of light from these two, almost like they're not as closed as the others. Now, again, I know some people leave their lights on, so that's why I'm not like too big on it, even though it's still very interesting in my opinion. Because I do think that's probably where he went out, and it's, But then, the big red flag for me if I get a chance, Lexi, I can promise you this is the spare bedroom windows. You can see one here. These are all lined up 1-to-1. So because the spare bedroom has 2. Did we already look at those? Okay, I'm at 128. No, we haven't. Oh, we will though. Okay, this is the spare bedroom or possibly face bedroom. So we're looking east, where the camera's looking west, and we see some kind of light. It's the little circle light, and it's coming through this window here. So I do wonder, it's too bad that bed is there. I wonder if there's like an outlet. I'm assuming there's got to be an outlet on this wall here. But I do wonder if that's like a nightlight. That's the only thing I could think of, Unless maybe like the bedroom door's open and there's another light coming through from like the hallway, but I don't know. I don't think it's the ceiling light. To me, I think it'd be like a nightlight that's just on the ground somewhere. But again, same thing. It's got the 4 panels that you can close up, but it appears that there's that circle light that's coming through right here, and you can see the whole window, the 2 windows here, and there's even 2 like weird things that are below, and that is below the bedroom when you look at the daytime. So that is coming from the window, and then you can actually see kind of like I think that's like the rain gutter thing here. Yeah, everything lines up in my opinion. But my big concern is this. This is my big red flag. So here is the master bedroom. I got it right this time. I think last time I showed the other bedroom. But again, it's got 2 windows. It has its own, obviously, I think most of them have their own bathrooms. Except for maybe Sebastian's. I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that. But of course, it has its own master bathroom. Full bathroom. Master bedroom. Full bathroom. I think it even has a walk-in tub or something like that. Very nice. So there's the bathroom here and then the hallway here. But the window that we're concerned about is this one here. And as you can see, and you can even see the squareness of it if you zoom in more. Even though the tree almost goes up like the middle of where the damn window is at, excuse me, you can see the rectangle in it. That light is on. Now, the biggest concern is when we look at the 4 a.m. compared to the 3 a.m. one, we can see all the other 2 lights, 2 main lights, I just call this one and this one, they're on. But this one, when we fade them in and out, so here we're looking at 4 a.m. Notice I can see that, and I can see the ball and everything. If you're on the phone, I do apologize. I can see that. That light source is very, very dim, but I can see the ball. That one's pretty easy to see. There is nothing that I can see at 4 a.m. But then when I transfer over to the 3 a.m., it is on. What do you guys think? Again, if you were, trolling and stuff, to me, I just why not just do whole windows? Like why would you be doing like little circles and square here? And this would be really hard to kind of fade this the top lights in here. I think that'd be much harder to do without it being blatantly obvious. Oh, thank you, Faze. Yeah, because I think that's huge. So again, 4 a.m., nothing. See, notice you can see the 2 lights. We go to 3 a.m. Oop, and that's on. Alleging his timestamp is legit. We can only go off the moon because we talked about that earlier, the different phases of the moon. which now I'm working with the clouds to try to figure out some things. But going with the moon, I can kind of tell, at least get a kind of a roundabout time. But that's definitely around more like 4 a.m. And then with this one, we can kind of see how it's darker to the right, but it's kind of light, almost like the moon is maybe not directly above us, but slightly just past the meridian line. Again, I could be wrong. And usually that's around, if it's at the meridian line at the north and south, it is somewhere around 1 a.m.-ish. You can't see the window. All right, let me get to chat, and I'll blow it up for you guys. Give me 1 second. Let me just play that for a minute. Let me get that. All right. Lady Rose gifted 1 Mob Crew membership. Thank you so much, Lady. God bless you for the support. Also gifting super chat $1.49. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. As always, I spend hours preparing shows for you guys, and that means the world to me because help support this channel. We will do something late February, probably beginning of March, where last year, we went out searching for Aiden Cloonan. We found his shoes, which is the first and only physical evidence ever found in his case. And for those that are familiar with that case, because we found the shoes, we are now at the point where we are bringing in cadaver dogs. The only problem is it's like he's in the middle of this mountain range and it's big, but the fact that we found his shoes means that he's probably likely within a 1 mile radius of those shoes because of all the elements in the timeline. And we just need to, and unfortunately because it's such rough terrain that we can only have the cadaver dogs out there for so long because they'll, depending on the time of year, it's really rough on them. So they can only be out for a certain amount of time and it can only cover so much ground. So we're going to do a fundraiser for the mother because, again, we're going to bring Aiden home this year, because I had nearly killed myself last year trying to find him because we found the shoes and then we went out back-to-back days on the hottest days of the year, and unfortunately, even though I was drinking water left and right, I still ended up getting nearly a sunstroke. All right, so you want to take what did I do? You want to take a little closer look at that? I'll show you guys real quick. So subject 2, well, I don't know subject 2, but just it came through the sunroom door with lights on and bedroom between 3:06 and 4 a.m. Then shut bedroom light off. Well, there's one where the bedroom light is on and then there's one where the bedroom light is off. But the concerning thing is the bedroom light is on when it's around the time when this alleged abduction happened. So I do find that very, very concerning. Okay, let me move this and okay. So as you can see, that is the approximate 4 a.m. one. No lights. All right. God, look at that. I mean, you can even see the square, like right here. So you have the tree going right through it. You know what? I'm going to raise the whites on it. You know, I try not to alter these, but I am going to raise the whites on it. All right. Remember, we got the rain gutter, the tree, and remember that bedroom window is right here. We got the one here, and we got the one here. Let's see, how big do I got it? I need a... Okay, so I have that one slightly bigger. I need a good reference point. Let's use that as the reference point. Okay, that one's just a little big, but it's definitely bigger. Still a little big. Okay. All right, let's put it right there. Okay, there's our reference. Ooh. So let me use that tree. It's close. I feel like it's just a tad off. Ooh. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay. Look at that. I mean, you can see the square on that. So much. All right. Let's see. So that's gonna fade in and out. All right. Let me run just two more things here, and then okay. So we're gonna run this as that and that. We're gonna go full on, and then we're gonna break, and then we are gonna, again, I don't mess with the lights much because I like to keep it natural. I'm gonna turn that up a little bit. Oh yeah, I mean, you can see the rectangle. I mean, it's clearly the bedroom light. I mean, there's no way around that. Okay, you can see that. All right, perfect. Okay, back it up to right there. All right. Okay, so here we go. Bedroom light. Just disregard that. I forgot to move that back. Oh, you guys can't even see it anyway. Not a biggie. All right. So, okay, remember there's a bedroom window here, completely dark. There's a tree that's kind of going through the middle. But you can clearly see the rectangle. This light is not on at 4 a.m. or around in that time, but it is on at around 3 a.m. According to SF, it's at 3:07. And I'll run a filter here in a second, which you'll see. This, again, is the master bedroom. So is that the filters being run through? No, the filter's not been run through yet. So here's me switching back to the 4 a.m. And I don't think I have the full filter out, so it might still fade in a little. But it's gone. It's completely gone. Now watch as I run the filter on it just to add a little bit of white, and I think I turned down the black a little bit even just to accentuate the light. And you'll see the rectangle start to really, again, remember you got the tree that's kind of going through the middle of it, but just as the same thing with this rectangle where there's a tree running through that one, you can see where it's clear as day. It's a rectangle. We've got 4 sides on it. It's just kind of got the tree that's running through the middle. That is Katie's bedroom. There's just no denying that. And again, if FS is correct, it's at 3:07 a.m. An hour later or a little after, that light is now off. You tell me what you make of it. I am just here to, study what we have. It is evidence, in my opinion. It's unbiased. I'm not tweaking it or adding, I try not to add filters. If I do, I'd let you guys know. Usually the most thing I do is I just, run overlays just to kind of show like the position of where things are at. But again, to me, that's huge. Should we see what did SF put something out recently? Is he that bored? Is Sebastian not that important? I really hope. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's embarrassing. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, really? Anyway, I feel icky. Like, I don't even know what words to say. Like, okay, let's see. I will explain the timestamp once Mob Crew is done with this live. Okay, great. Okay, great. Awesome. Has closed captions enabled on a timestamp. Okay, great. That's awesome. If that is true, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna like it. There you go, SF. If you're watching, I like that. I'm down for that. Now I would just say, at the very least, if you're watching, maybe you could explain why we all have the same setup here. This is a little concerning. Again, these are not the usual timestamp formats. You usually have the year and then the military time. They're not all the same. But again, you've got, remember, each one of these are different cameras. Now, not saying that he couldn't just put the right time, because maybe it's cut off. Again, I look at it from all sides, but I'm just saying, like, I don't even think I've been the first one to point that out. I don't know, but I just find that interesting that every single camera, even though they're coming from different brands and companies, that they would all have that same font and format. That seems a little weird. Anyway, I'm happy. Yeah, please announce it. Again, and again, I hate to show hate to anybody. It's not. I just want to, again, give me some clips, man. We're almost at an anniversary. What are we gonna wait till we're like on our deathbeds and go, okay, we might be holding on to some stuff that may help us. Like, holy shit. Like, this... I'll get upset. It shouldn't be a year out by now, right? This isn't a child that walked off, right? We know it, right? Those who know. This is not. I still give there's a chance there's a possible abduction that's outside of the family. I still entertain that at the very least, right? And I've never mentioned murder, even though he has claimed that I've claimed that they've murdered him. But, I've always been trying to be optimistic on this channel that maybe he's just being held somewhere, by extended family. And, but I've never tried to entertain those kind of ideas, especially in this case. I always try to give hope, have hope. But according to me, I guess if you talk about the main two, then you're calling them murderers. But that's clearly he doesn't watch my show enough. Anyway, I got changed. Thank you for the $1.99. God bless. Glory gifted another Mob Crew membership. Thank you so much. I'm happy to explain the closed captions if that's it. Sure. I still just, if he's watching, again, how does this help when you put a statement saying like, well, I've got 100 hours of footage, and people are claiming that there's a bunch of stuff going on. Well, here, I'm just going to give you a screenshot. Okay? Well, again, like, there's no context to this. And then you're blurring out stuff on top of that, which doesn't look good. But again, you could have easily just taken a screenshot of just after stuff is moving around. Right? Again, we have no context. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? Right? Like, this doesn't prove anything. I don't know. I almost want to finish up because I'm curious for him. I mean, if he needs me to finish up, kind of feels weird, but let's check. I know somebody sent me a PayPal they sent me a Venmo. I think last week, and I forgot to mention them, but I did send them a thank you. But yeah, by chance, if you do send like a Venmo or PayPal, it does help the channel. I don't beg for it or anything, but if you do, just let my mods know, because I've got a place where I don't get like the messages right away. All right, what do you guys think before we finish up? I'd be curious for him to explain it. Be nice if we could release, some stuff. Again, I don't know how long are we gonna wait. Yeah, release the footage, right? Again, if your clients are innocent. And then the other thing I think about is with the cases that I worked on with Dylan Rounds, well, the PI that was working for them, well, he ended up being a clown and extortionist. And then he actually even switched over to Aiden Cloonan, that same PI. So he got fired by two cases that I worked on, the same PI, but worked on those two cases. Both fired him because he was beyond a clown. And but I try to think of it through the eyes of Candace and thinking, okay, obviously she did not like what her PI was putting out there and completely fired him. And we know obviously Candace had nothing to do with her son's disappearance. So if it was the same situation, but yet you have a PI that's putting this stuff out, that means that they're okay with this stuff, right? I understand if he's putting out stuff that made the public could help, again, like this, the public can help. Well, I mean, if you're not blurring shit out, but if you really want to help, and the public's your best thing, right? We're going to think outside the box. We're going to come together as a team. And again, there's one detective working on this. Do you think he has time to go through all this, right? All this hundreds of hours of footage? Maybe they went through it at the beginning with like a task force, but then they could have easily missed shit. They do all the time. We know that. So again, sitting on footage, like, how long are you gonna wait, man? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. There's some things I'm not going to say here, but I do wonder if there's other things going on because yeah. Well, I don't want to mention it because I don't want to ruin it. Just in case of it there was like this one thing that I'm just praying may be happening, but just by happenstance, and maybe we could talk about it in the members and the Patreons at some point. Yeah, again, yeah, I've got 100 hours, but my clients are innocent, but I'm not going to show you any of it. Okay. Well, that doesn't look good. And again, like, I mean, just stop with this whole common error. We know where this stuff's going on. Like, stop, dude. Just stop bringing it up. At the very least, just stop bringing up the whole common area thing. We know that stuff. We know where that's going on, man. We know who Nick Barris talked to and all that. He didn't just pull that stuff out of his ass. Nick Barris, I know now, like, times have changed. People are more, they want to get their news from YouTubers because, like, they build this rapport, right? I forget which content creator. I think it was Brett Cooper. Is it Brett Cooper? Anyway, I just caught one of her shows, but she made up such a great point that, like, social media influencers, and I hate to consider myself like a social media influencer. It sounds weird. But more people are tuning in to like YouTube, whatever, social media for their news than the actual, news stations because they know, usually they're, either right wing, left wing or whatever, and are biased on one side or the other. And so now more people are trying to get their news from content creators because, they're building rapport with them, I'm here in my open, here I am in my most vulnerable state, trying to, give you my perspective on things. And again, I wouldn't have like 1,000 people in here almost every other day if I hadn't built a decent rapport with you guys, right? But anyway, what an interesting podcast that she had, kind of talking about people are tuning in to content creators more than the news because, again, here you guys are, we're building a rapport and all that. Anyway, I digress. I'm kind of curious to see what he, as long as he's not going to, talk about the moon cycles. For the love of God, he clearly didn't watch my whole show. I mean, look at this. He posted the moon cycle for me. I mean, God bless you, SF. God bless. But if you would have watched more of the show, even though I know I mentioned I thought that could have been the sun, we did talk about, that's probably the moon, But again, you probably just watched and somebody took some clips. And again, out of context, so. But yeah, we did talk about how it was the moon. You just kind of missed out. Anyway, but I do appreciate that. Yeah. What does he have it here? 12. So that's 5:53:6. The one I looked at says it's more like 7 to 7. So I guess it kind of depends on where you look at. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, 7:23 that's I think was the one I looked at. So mine said it came up more around 7. Ignore him. Oh, I have thick skin. You have to have thick skin. Like it doesn't really bother me. I just pray, like, because I try to believe in the best in everybody. That there's just some inkling that he's trying to do the right thing. But again, I don't want to give that away. We'll have to talk about that as time goes on. To look at this, ambulance chaser, Lexi Lynn. I'm not sure. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I've obviously when you follow true crime, you see people on. Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, I've seen him on Kylie Rodney and others. So yeah. Again, most of you guys know I just try to stay in my own lane, and I just try to look at the evidence. Again, what did we do 90% on this channel? Actually, probably like almost 99% of the channel. All we did is just look at evidence, right? Like, evidence is unbiased, and then I'm just giving my opinions of what I see. Could I be wrong? Yeah, I've been wrong many times, and I have no problem admitting, because, you know what, I was raised to admit your mistakes. Be a man. Own up to them. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. We'll be back. I'm going to do a members live. I got to make up. They did some stuff with the apartment complex, so I had to clean it. Well, my apartment's mostly clean, but you know, they do that because it's at the end of the year or beginning of the year. They come by all the apartments and, you know, change the air filters and, you know, do a little inspection or whatever. And so anyway, that's why I wasn't live Friday, because I didn't want to be live and have some guy walk in while I'm live. So anyway, guys, I appreciate the love and support. Yeah, but in the end of the day, please show love, not hate. Let's be above these others, right? You know, take the high ground. That's just my approach. Again, even I have my bad days and get frustrated, but again, I just want to find Sebastian, and I could care less who's behind it, honestly. So, thank you to my wonderful mods, D, Jocelyn, Sensei, Copper Horse, NJ's. I'm sorry. I don't know if I saw Jennifer in here. I think Monday she's got her son. So, God bless you guys. Yeah, members live we'll do tomorrow, and maybe we'll try to pick up some extra lives. And allegedly with Brittany, thank you so much for becoming a member. Thank you. God bless you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I think I got it all. And again, thank you, PK, for the $10 super chat. God bless you. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your Monday. And we will be back, members, tomorrow, and then regular show Wednesday. Much love.